Well, Toby, welcome to the program, and thank you so much for joining. I know it's extremely busy. Tell us what you're up to at the moment, just to give us an idea.
Yeah, well, I've just finished 3 weeks of weaning our ewes and lambs and shearing. We've got a day of shearing tomorrow and a day of shearing on Thursday, and we'll be tidied up for the summer. It's everything. Even did all our lates this year. So we've been flat out drafting and loading lambs, and then we're also trying to get our calf marking done, although that's been on the back burner for the last week or so. So we'll get into that next week, hopefully, and then on top of that, we've had the government's proposal to be dealing with about pricing ag emissions. So that's taken up a fair amount of time.
Yeah, and on top of that, all of that, we've got a new responsibility for you. Tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah, so about a month ago, William Beetham resigned from the Federated Farmers National Board and as the Meat and Wool Council chair. And I'd picked up the role of vice chair back in July. I think I could sort of have a year, maybe a year or so, 18 months to sort of get my head around the job and maybe step into William's shoes. But with his resignation, I'm the next cab off the rank. So we've had to, jump through a few procedural hoops there, and then I'm off the diving board into the deep end. So it's been, a very busy time to be involved with Federated Farmers too.
And as you say, with the emissions trading proposal, the submission to be put in, it's been all on.
It's been all on, and it's been a very divisive issue. I mean, across the sector, it's been very divisive. Not everybody. I mean, the government didn't sort of play very fairly when doing the process, the Hei-Waka Ikanoa process and things like that. They sat in a room for 2.5 years and then walked out at the 11th hour, and the government chose to. They accepted some parts of the process, but then changed, quite significant other ones. So we've had to sort of deal with that as an organisation, and then we had a meeting last week to decide whether we were happy with our submission, our Federated Farmers submission, or we wanted to join up with stay with the Hei-Waka Ikanoa guys and sign their submission as well. We've chosen to not sign their submission only because we don't want to detract from our own submission. We're still part of the Hei-Waka Ikanoa process, but it's been tough. It's been challenging. It's been hard on our staff, hard on the elected individuals, and there's a lot of differing opinions about what we should and shouldn't do, and what we can and can't do, and what's the right pathway forward.
I mean, it's a heck of a responsibility and a heck of an imposition on your time, isn't it, when you are so busy as it is to take on these roles? Why do you do it?
I'm passionate about it, and passionate's often a misused word, but I really want to make sure that my children have the same opportunities I've had to be able to be a farmer if they want to be, or someone else's children who may want to come here and manage for me and work for me. We want to create these pathways forward. I'm really proud to be someone who produces food for people. I'm really proud of the work we do on our farm in terms of our environmental impact. We're always improving. And unfortunately, this government seems to have us on turbocharge, trying to do everything all at once without sort of trying to work with us. And it's easy to sit on the couch and say, someone else will sort it out. Well, if no one's putting their hand up, then you sort of feel like, well, why don't I jump in and give it a go? And I've met some really great people, and the experiences you get out of it, will stand me in good stead for the rest of my life. And Federated Farmers is different, to a business as well. It's, we're ground up, so we listen to what our members say, and we follow what our members want us to do. So that's probably the biggest difference with them too.
But then you have that, I suppose, that dilemma of, you've got all this work to do on the farm at the busiest time of the year at the moment. And you've got to go off to Wellington and do a couple of days down there. So squeezing all that in, it certainly puts pressure on, doesn't it?
It does put pressure on, yeah. But the whole organisation always has family, farm, feds in that order. So your family's most important, then your farm, and then Federated Farmers. And it's a matter of planning. We know when the meetings are coming up. It's a tough time of the year for an East Coast farmer when we're weaning, everything like that. So for me, moving forward, we're trying to bring our lambing dates and weaning dates a little bit, another week forward. So when I get through to the meetings and things like that time of the year, I'm actually not too concerned. I've done all my work I needed to do.
And just briefly before we go, how's the weather treating the East Coast?
Today it's beautiful, hot and sunny, but there's another storm warning coming for our East Cape. 10 days ago we had 125 mils on a Friday, right as they're trying to muster forward for weaning, and it's done a little bit more damage. Further up the coast, they had some significant falls. There's more roads closed. It's progressively the roads aren't going to be opened back up again. I think there's too much damage, it costs too much. So the East Coast's surviving, but things like the government's proposals and the falling sheep and beef prices at the moment, and just negative sentiment towards farmers in general, then you add the weather in and interest rates rising, and you've got a recipe at the moment for some pretty despondent farmers.